Welcome to Actual Scale Modelling. This is part 8 of the MENG 9A52-2 Smerch Russian long-range rocket launcher. In part 7 I started off with the cab and I only got a couple of bits done, so I'm carrying on with that today. Be building the seats and the outside of the cab. Don't know how much I'll get on, because like yesterday I've got quite a bit on, but I'll see what I can get through. So let's get into the build. Carrying on with the cab assembly and concentrating on the inner part of the cab, and these are the two seats that I'm making up. They're one of few bits to put together. It was a bit confusing on the cushions, where to place them on the frame. The location points on them are slightly different, but it's easy to get mixed up, so you want to spend a little bit of time just studying it before you go on to place the seats on. But the rest of the seats I made up okay. I was just trying to figure out how the seats go onto the actual frame. And while the frame's drying, I'm moving on to the other parts that are the inner cab. So making up the steering wheel, all the accelerators, the clutches and brackets that go inside, as well as the handbrakes and so forth. The pedals and frame are painted in XF56 metallic grey. The steering wheel and column is painted in 08 matte black by Revel. And these are the two main dominant colours inside the cab. The outer wall of the cab is painted in 362 greyish green. So going back to the seats, as I said, I had difficulty trying to figure out how these seats go on. Thinking about it, it was probably my fault mixing up the two cushions, but the location points are right on the edge, and one sticks up further than the other. So once you get your head around it, it's alright. So going back to the main cab again, this is the floor panel, and the units that fit in here are very clearly marked on the instructions, and all the location points are easy enough to find, so you shouldn't have any issues here. You may want to pay special attention to the small brackets that are going on. These hold the back seats on the actual kit, and they've got to go in a certain way. The location recesses for these will actually fit either edge of the little triangle unit you're putting in. So again, look at how the seats were actually meant to go on, and you should be able to figure it out. The accelerator and clutch pedals are going in. I put them in before painting because I wasn't sure what would actually be seen inside the model, but in the end I decided to paint them anyway. I would recommend putting the pedals in first before you put the steering column in. That sits up against the original middle unit there, and it makes a nice anchor point for the thing to sit against, so it's not going to be flopping off when you put it in. And once the seats are in, you can see how it's all coming together. So again, I'm just pre-painting on the spray here for the other couple of little parts that are going to go into this back inside of the cab. And that part was the handbrake, and that was the last to go on. So I'll just place it on now that it's all dried. And then that's the main unit finished of the inside, so you can see it there. But it's quite a fun little bit of the kit to do. There's a couple of little things that go on the inner walls, and they're easy enough to put in. This is just part of the roof, so this is initially getting painted in XF25 light sea grey by Tamiya to match the colour of the inside cab. Then I'm using X23 clear blue for a little light that goes on top. There's another couple of panels to make up that go inside the wall of the cab. I should point out actually this is the left hand wall of the cab, and I'm not sure what these parts are for, the purpose inside the actual vehicle itself. Now, the little circular part that I'm making up there, the instruction says to put the lever on the little circular part after the little circular part is fitted. Now, I found out that it was easier to fit it like this first before putting it on. That goes in from the top side into the main cab unit, so it was just easier to put it on now than it was to try and fit it inside once the top part was on. Sounds a little bit confusing. I know I probably haven't explained it all that well, but when we get onto it, I'll show you what I meant. So this is just the other little bits going in. So the little part's been painted and it's time to put it in, and it just fits on the top there like that. So the little lever is already attached and that just fits on the top, and the little sticky out part, which is inside the cab, is already in situ, so you're not trying to get it in with tweezers, or you can be very ham-fisted, you know, so it really is easier to build it before putting it in. So once that's all in, it's time to put in the windows and the clear parts here. Again, they fit really well inside the frame. There's hardly any adjustment needing to be done. And then it was time to attach the inner cab to the outer walls. This wasn't tricky at all. It was, once you line it up, it just sits in there rather nicely. But it is important that you get it lined up straight as such, for when the other sidewall goes on and for it to fit onto the cab. So this bit is quite important. So it's worth taking your time again to make sure you've got it in the correct position. And then it's time for the right hand wall to go on. That's the one I built up on part 7. So that just lays on top, and if you put in the inner cab part on properly, this will just sit right on top without any fuss. There's a full edge part here for the light. Now, like the other light, there's a bending tool for this. This part I actually thought was a part of the kit, but it's not. That's why I painted it. So there's a couple of little sections to this. There's a dome part that you take the full edge part on and just place it on top. There's a little location point for this so it doesn't flop off. And once you've got it securely on, you take the other piece and press it into the top of the dome. And what happens here is it bends the photo etch part into the proper position. There's little grooves for each prong as well to lay down on, so you know it's coming, going in properly. Now, I don't know whether I done it wrong or not, but there's it only bends so far, not straight down. So once I took it out, I placed it back on top again, and of the middle part, then just compressed them down onto the actual unit. It's such a lovely little thing to have included into a kit, and it's the first time I've ever seen a kit include a tool for bending the photo etch parts like that. Before you fit it, there's a collar that goes on just where the light is going to go. So you just place it on first, make sure it's dry, and then you can put on your light. The light is made up just your normal moulded part with a little clear glass. I didn't lose this one, so I didn't have to fill it up. And while it's drying, I'm just going to be moving on to the other part of the main cab. So this is the steps at the bottom of the unit, and these are getting painted in the main base colour, 362 greyish green by Revel Aqua colour. I'm not sure if it's meant to be this colour, but I do like it, so I tend to use it. So once that's on, it's time to place the steps on. There's 3 little location points that goes in here, and it sits in really nicely. Once they're on, I fitted the little running steps that go onto your little flatbeds. You can put them on beforehand, but I thought it might have been better once the steps were attached. They're just 2 little flat pieces that go onto the ridge, Again, they have location points to help them sit on the actual run. There's a couple of other pieces that go on. Not sure what's for, but this is painted in 08 matte black, and it sits in a diagonal sort of position on the bottom there. And the next is a rubber flap, and this is painted in Revel Aquacolor 69 granite grey, and it sits in a little recess just on the curve of the bottom. Before I fit the light, there's 3 little ringlets that have to be fitted. These parts are absolutely tiny, so be careful you don't lose them. I almost did. And once it was on, it was time to fit the light, and that was just a simple push into the location point. And then the photo etch part that I bent goes on. My finger's in the way, you can't really see it unfortunately, but it is on there and it fitted perfectly because of that bending tool. So at this point, once it's dry, you may want to take the opportunity to touch up any paintwork that you need to be doing once it's all dried. Now some people leave this process to the end, but I find that when you've got a kit as detailed as this one, it's better to do it as you're working along the kit. That way you won't miss anything, and later on down the line you'll look at it and go, damn, I forgot to paint that. Next to go on is a little horn, which is painted in 08 matte black with Revel Aquacolor. I'm not sure why this horn's there. I don't think you'll be able to see it once everything's in place. And now the last window, the side window. Now the kit actually asked you to insert this early on in the process, but I decided to leave it to the end because I didn't want to feel the glue marks on my fingerprint. Last to be fitted is an aerial. Now I painted this in Revel Aquacolor 08 matte black, but I was thinking about it last night. I think I'll probably repaint this because I don't like that colour as an aerial. But it's simply easy enough to fit on. Next to go on is the windscreen wiper, and that is painted in the same 08 matte black. There's a little location point just above where the clear part is, so you shouldn't have any worries about getting any cement onto the clear part. And it's up to you how you want to position it. I put mine to the side. And then the last headlight goes in. Now this is one of the ones that I filled up with the canopy glue, and it's all dried nice and clear now. And then it was time to fit the doors. Now you can have the doors in open or closed position. Initially I put them in the open position so you can see all the work inside. They sit on 2 hinges, which the recesses are just inside the frame, so you shouldn't have any problem getting them to fit straight. Onto the radiator cover now. There's a photo etch part, and this is getting painted in XF56 metallic grey. Be sure to paint both sides of this photo etch part. The photo etch part fits onto a frame. The frame is painted in Revel Aquacolor 362 greyish green, and then there's slats within the frame which get painted in XF56 metallic grey. So that's the 2 main colours to it. It's worth taking your time on this because you want it to make it look good. Now there's a couple of brackets on this frame that I've decided to leave green because the outer part of the frame that get attached on ladders, I think it is, it'll just look better if they're actually the main colour. So once it's all painted, it's just a matter of a little bit of super glue and laying it on, and then you may need to touch up some of your paint work. That's me just painting the brackets there. There's a little side panel that goes on here. Now again, the instructions are asking to put this on earlier in the process of the build, but I decided to leave it off until this point, just so that I knew exactly where my radiator was going to fit. So once that was on, it's time to fit the radiator covering, and because I waited to put that part on, I was able to judge the angle better to actually get it on. So there it is there, the frame goes in, and then the side piece goes in and butts up against it to make it all square. Once that's on, it's time to put the cab on. Now I decided to close the doors in the end, just for ease of movement. Now the location points of this are on the actual main frame. Start with the back going down first onto the bracket, then lowering the front down. I found this easier than just trying to put it on straight. It shouldn't need any clamps either to hold. Once it's on, it's on, and there it is there. So you can see the doors closed. Now I'm going on to the launch control cap. There's quite a few little bits to make up here, all painted in various colours. So I'm doing a majority of it on the sprue. This colour here is Rebel Aquacolor 43 medium grey, and a lot of the little boxes in here will be painted this colour. Next to the seats, and this is getting painted in Rebel Aquacolor 381 brown. Now this is a different brown from the other seats. Why, I'm not too sure, but that's what it's calling for. Then it's onto some control boxes which are painted in Rebel Aquacolor 90 silver. Once all the little panels were dry, it was time to put them together. Simple process, just putting a box together. You shouldn't have any problems whatsoever with that. There's little dials on the side of the box, and these get painted in Rebel Aquacolor 90 silver. And the dials on top of the box are 08 matte black by Rebel Aquacolor. Time to make up the next set of seats, and these are basically the same as the other ones. Not quite as many parts on these ones for some reason, so these were a lot easier to make up. I had no problem. Just make sure each part is dry before you add the other one, or they'll tend to be drawn in towards each other and you won't get the seat to fit. And then it's time to make up the control boxes. For this unit here, there's one or two little boxes to make up that sit in the frame. It's all fairly simple building this. It just takes a bit of time because there's one or two parts that I've got to go into it. So once this is all done, this will bring part 8 to an end. I got a lot more done than I thought I was going to get done, which was good. So the build's moving on quite nicely now. In part 9, the aim is to get the launch control compartment assembly completed. So this is just the initial boxes are getting done now. I don't know how much I'll get done on that, but hopefully I will get that completed. But in the meantime, why don't you check out the other videos for this build, or indeed any of the other ones on my channel. Throw me a like if you enjoyed what you've seen here today, and why don't you subscribe to my channel. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.